Hey everybody, it's Ken and Danille.
Hello.
And I am so excited to have Michael Chandler on. For those of you guys who don't know, he is an MMA champion, 3-time Bellator Lightweight Champion, one of the most baddest ass guys in the world, the toughest guys in the world for sure. He's on his way to win the UFC title. I'm going to predict that right now. Michael, welcome.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate the intro, and man, it's awesome to be here.
Yeah, obviously this is a real estate channel, and primarily we talk about that, but we talk a lot about mindset. We talk a lot about habits of success. But also, you're investing in real estate, and you're a personal finance major, and you minored in real estate. And so, you're kind of tracking these, maybe not entirely right now, right? But why don't you talk a little bit about, how you started, where you are, and where you're heading?
Yeah, so, we were talking a little bit before. I consider myself getting my feet kind of wet in life when it comes to the ups and the downs and the toils and the peaks and the valleys through the sport of wrestling. I was a 5'0" 98-pound freshman in high school. So being the starting quarterback and the starting point guard on the basketball team wasn't exactly going to be in my future. So I gravitated toward the sport of wrestling, and I just fell in love with it. I didn't quite know it at the time, but I was falling in love with the self-sufficiency that when it's just you on the mat against your opponent, and there's your coaches and teammates are over there, but they can't do anything to help you. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. I'm able to handle the pressures of it, and quite frankly, the ups and the downs, the exhilaration of getting your hand raised in front of millions of people and then getting knocked out and crying in front of millions of people. I've been on both ends of that spectrum.
Isn't it true that you just find people along the way and they give you a little bit more, and they give you just a little bit of hope to punch through that next barrier?
Yeah, and that's when now as a 35-year-old, and so much has happened since then. I look back to the 18-year-old me, 19-year-old me with this, as you said, a ceiling that was placed around me. Not just the limiting beliefs that I would tell people that I wanted to be a national champion when I really didn't truly believe it, but I worked hard. I worked harder than everyone else. I lived the right lifestyle. I wanted to be a champion in the work that I was doing, but I didn't quite believe it between my two ears,
So what I wanted to talk about was habits of success, because I think a lot of people are walk-ons, I think everybody in life is kind of a walk-on. You had to punch through some big barriers. What are some of the things that you did, some habits that got you the success that you've had so far?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, and I do, you alluded to walk-on. I was a walk-on at the University of Missouri. So essentially that meant I was the lowest guy on the totem pole. I was the guy that the coaches expected to not make it past year one. They would give out 4 shirts and 4 pairs of shorts to all the guys on the team, and I got 2. I wasn't getting all the gear. I wasn't getting all the nice stuff. The most instrumental decision I ever made in my entire life was walking on to the University of Missouri. It was the single most important decision and the catalyst to the man that you see today.
You have to really shelf what other people thought of you, because I think a lot of times people get in their head of what other people are thinking of them.
I did, and looking back now, I have no idea why I made that decision, why I was able to. And what if you just ride the bench? What if you don't make it? What if you just quit? And I think that's kind of the overarching mentality of the people that I was most surrounded by was, well, don't try too hard, too fast to try to do too big of things, because if you fall flat on your face and you fail, then that's pretty much the worst thing that can happen. And now that I look back on it, the moments where you have to really take stock in exactly who you are and where you're going and what you're trying to do, that even if you fail, at least you failed while daring greatly.
Is there something inside of you that just wants to, punch out, right? And then you start to see that it works, and then it just never, you realize that it's really been you all along.
There's so much pride that you can take in knowing that you were one of the only people that thought you were making the right decision. It's the epitome of accomplishment inside the sport of mixed martial arts, is try to become the UFC champion. And while I've gone through this journey over the last year, I don't do it to prove people wrong as much as I do it to prove those believers right. It's always been after a loss.
Oh my goodness, jab by Gaethje.
Chandler with the edge unofficially in round 3.
I pick myself back up and I dust myself off and I say, okay, this is right where I want to be. Now my back's up against the wall, and there's that little bit of itch, little bit of fight, little bit of fire that got rekindled inside of you from having these setbacks.
So when you were trying to transition from wrestling to MMA, what kind of habits or routines did you instill to make that move?
Needed to do exactly what I had been doing for the last 12 years prior to that. And then when I got into the sport, starting to realize the lack of dedication or the lack of discipline around me as professional mixed martial artists. And I saw it as an opportunity to capitalize, because even though this guy was fighting for a world title, I see the way that he lives his life and how he trains. It's only a matter of time before I start to catch up to him, because I'm doing more than he is, pushing myself harder than a lot of people are willing to.
Now, did you always have this discipline, or is this something like, when did it hit you that you needed to have discipline just in your life in general?
I was very fortunate to grow up with two amazing parents. You know, even though, as we said, Ken, like my father was a union carpenter. My mother worked in had a couple different jobs as a waitress, or she worked in my grandpa's scrapyard as a secretary. And although they didn't make tons of money and they didn't have this great amount of financial success, they knew what it took to be successful. And even if in their mind it was just to survive, they taught me the very foundation of working extremely hard. So for me, it was knowing that if I was going to do something, I was going to do it just as my mom and dad did, extremely, extremely disciplined.
I ran into this book that I read 10 years ago called Turning Pro. I just wanted to read one thing. This jumped right. I opened it right to this, and it said, each individual is so caught up in his own bullshit that he doesn't have 2 seconds to worry about yours or mine, or to reject or diminish us because of it. When we truly understand that a tribe does not even give a damn, we're free. There is no tribe. There never was. Our lives are simply up to us.
Well, it's so good because we spend so much time thinking and second guessing and planning our steps based upon how it's going to affect other people, or how other people are going to see or view us or what we're trying to do, when really, like you said, do people really even care?
No, they don't.
And I am not a master at this. Trust me. When you read that, I'm like, okay, he's speaking right to you, Michael. But it's part of it. And I've gotten better at it over the years. And I just think a lot of it does come with age. A lot of it does come with wisdom. And just time under tension.
Well, Michael, if there's anything I can ever do, also, we're going to put all your stuff up so people can follow you.
Very active on Instagram at Mike Chandler MMA. That's where I do a lot of my platform. And I do have a 14-day mindset booklet that I sat down during COVID and wrote out. It's on unsunggrinders.com. It's free downloadable PDF that I've got a lot of great response from. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, we'll put that on here. Yeah, we'll stick that on the clip here. It's at unsunggrinders.com.
In the show notes.
Unsung Grinders.
Nice. I love the title.
Quick kind of what it means. Everybody always looks at me like I'm this awesome fitness guru, and I'm so disciplined, and I look a certain way, and I just want to be that. People get so much inspiration at what I do, but really I tell them I do this to feed my family. I shouldn't even really get credit for looking this way or working this hard, kind of that wrestler mentality. It's the people out there who are waking up at 5 a.m., getting after it in the gym, still going to their job all day long. Those are the unsung grinders out there, the people who don't get credit for the hard work that they put in the gym.
So, Michael, we've taken enough of your time. Thank you so much. I love chatting with you. You got an incredible family, and your values are all just right where they need to be. And obviously the things that you're doing are working. And I'm very, very excited to see you're on your way to the UFC title, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. And we love Arizona, so we will be out there again very soon, probably after this fight. So
okay, 100%, Michael. Good chatting with you, buddy.
Thank you. See you
Thanks,
later.
guys.